Welcome to the IT Career Energizer podcast. For anyone who wants to build and grow a career in IT, develop and improve your strengths and skills, be inspired and motivated by the successes of others, manage your career progression, and achieve your IT career goals. And now, your host, Phil Burgess.
Welcome to episode 87 of the IT Career Energizer podcast. My guest on today's show is Wes Bos. Wes is a full-stack web developer and designer who spends most of his time working with JavaScript, CSS3 and HTML5. Wes is also a lead instructor at HackerYou, an instructor for ladies learning code, and a regular conference speaker on everything from front-end dev to server-side JavaScript. So Wes, can you expand on that summary and tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been a full stack web developer for about 10 years now. I spend most of my time and most of my days writing JavaScript, mostly React on the front end and Node.js on the back end. As you said, I also build web development courses, so I got a passion for teaching other people how to build stuff for the web.
And also, you obviously mentioned your podcast as well. So how long has that been running?
Just over a year right now, and it's doing well. I think we're in the top 40 regularly, top 40 iTunes technology podcasts.
Yep.
So we've been really having a lot of fun with it, and we actually just switched a couple of months ago to doing two per week.
Right.
We got so much to say.
That's great. Okay, can you maybe share a unique career tip with the IT Career Energizer audience, one they possibly don't know and should?
My whole thing is teaching people how to learn to code, right? Like that's my career is trying to get people to understand how code works so they can go off and have a successful career as a web developer. And really the thing that I see most is that people are frustrated with their progress and how quickly they can do something. And they just want to know what the secret code is in order to understand things, right? My whole thing is that I always tell people there's no formation without repetition. And I'm not a particularly smart person. I didn't have a computer science background. I don't necessarily understand this stuff really quickly, but I do know that if you just keep at it, if you just keep putting in time, building, I always tell people to build 1,000 things. If you just build stuff over and over again, if you keep having some sort of repetition in learning this stuff, it's going to start to stick. So there really is no secrets in this industry. It's really just about having repetition and building stuff over and over again.
I suppose it's the way that you learn almost as you go along, I suppose, and you build your experience and expertise in that way.
Yeah, that's true as well. Like with web development and I guess technology in general, there's always this sort of continual learning thing. You're never just going to go to school, put in your time, and then be good for the rest of your life. You definitely have to have a mindset of like a forever learner. And you should always be picking up new skills because especially in tech, it seems to go out of date so quickly.
Sure. But of course, the learning is only balanced by the doing. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's the vital ingredient from my point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Okay. Wes, can you maybe tell us about your worst IT career moment and what you learned from that experience?
Yeah. So I'm an entrepreneur. I've always worked for myself. I've never had an actual job. I've either been a freelancer or running my own thing, selling courses. But when I was in university, I went to school for IT management, which is a business degree focused on IT, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, I was working at a large oil and gas company as a co-op. So part of my learning, I did a 5-year program. 4 of that was school, and then summers and an extra year we're doing co-ops. So it was awesome because I worked for a large oil and gas company. I was making really good money at the time, and I just really didn't enjoy it at all. And that was the point where I'm very lucky to realize that, like early on in my career, that even though I was making good money, it's not something that I was enjoying at all. So being able to be in that spot where I said, like, I literally hated waking up every day and going to this job, even though it was just like a 4-month summer co-op, I really learned really quickly that it's not worth it to do something that you don't like. And from that point, I said, I'm just going to run my own business. And that was Whoa, probably 7, 8 years ago. And I've been doing really well for myself since then.
Yeah, so has your focus been courses as much as anything else?
I've been doing courses for like 5 years, and I've been full-time on it for about 2 years now. It's not just courses, because I never want to be that developer who, or that teacher who doesn't actually put it into practice.
Yeah.
So like a large portion, I did do a lot of contract work for 8 of those years, 8 of the probably 10 years I've been a web developer. I did freelance and contract work, and I was sort of a specialist in JavaScript area. And now I have my own products that I have to work on to sort of stay sharp. But that's where almost all of my income is coming from, is courses, workshops, and then we have like the podcast as well.
Okay, can you maybe take us to your career highlight or greatest success and tell us about that?
I think that my career highlight was when I put forward my first product that I had for sale. And when I say product, I mean like the first course that I had. I'd always wanted to do something myself. I'd always wanted to like make my own money outside of just exchanging it for time, which is what I was doing for freelancing. And I had been writing these blog posts about, at the time, it was about a text editor that used in web development called Sublime Text. And for a year and a half, I had been writing a book about Sublime Text. And many times I thought, this probably isn't a good idea. I don't know if anyone's ever going to buy it. And I kind of fell off that a whole bunch of times. And about a year and a half after I said I was starting it, I actually finished the thing, and I put it out there, and people bought it. And within a month, I had made back like way more money than I would have, like the time that I had put into it. And that was just such a good feeling, knowing that like if you put out good content out there, if you try to help people learn things, they're going to be willing to support you. And it's something that there's a demand for.
Absolutely. Okay, can you maybe tell us what excites you about the future of the IT industry and careers in IT in particular?
What excites me is that the future is both really exciting, because we've like things like self-driving cars, and it's just amazing how we're progressing, and the technology that is able, like the powerful technology that you're able to put into just a regular web developer's hands or a regular IT person's hands is super powerful. So whether that's machine learning, whether that's something like Amazon's AWS being able to scale up huge networks, being able to scale up just serverless functions, things like that. I think that it's really cool that amount of power is just being so readily available for so cheap to just any web developer that wants to try something out. So I think that's part of it. And then also I think the other part is just the unknown amount. Like I couldn't tell you 6 years ago where the industry would be right now. It's totally flipped over in the last 6 or so years. And knowing that will probably happen again in the next 6 years is kind of interesting. I think it's also it's great for people who are trying to get into the IT industry, because this industry moves so quickly. If you can learn the latest and the greatest, you can get up to speed real quick on what's going on, and you can sort of jump into a fast moving river and get to the front of the pack pretty easily. Not easily, but quickly.
Are there any particular technologies or languages or anything like that you think right now are the ones to look at in particular?
There's tons of tech out there. There's people spending all their, like, I would love to say something cool like machine learning or blockchain or something like that. But for me, at least, it's learning JavaScript and some of the things like TypeScript that surround JavaScript. Not because they're the most powerful things, but because they are the most accessible things, meaning that just regular people like you and I can pick up JavaScript. We can learn JavaScript. You can go at it for 3 or 4 years, and then you can build some pretty amazing stuff with it. I think it's fairly pedestrian in that, where you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do some pretty cool stuff.
Sure. Okay, we're going to go into the reveal round now. We're going to ask you a few questions and find out a little bit more about yourself.
All right.
So what first attracted you to a career in IT?
My dad had a job in IT growing up. We were the first kids on the block to have a computer, first kids on the block to have dial-up, first kids on the block to have cable internet. So we were kind of always just on the cutting edge for that. And I just loved computers. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me.
And what is the best career advice you've ever received?
The best career advice I ever received was double your rate. When I was freelancing, I think I was working for about $50 an hour, and someone said you should charge 100. So I tried it and it worked. And that made a huge, it was so simple. Yeah. Double your rate. Okay. Oh, wow. People are willing to pay it, right? Like people are willing to pay for your expertise. And if you can be a shrewd businessman, like if you know what you're worth, then you can fetch that. And that was huge for me in leading to other parts of my career, because it allowed me to work part-time on client work and then have enough money to spend time on stuff that other interests that I have, which ultimately led to me doing blogging and YouTube and selling stuff.
If you were to begin your IT career again right now, what would you do?
I think that I would spend a lot of time on YouTube, just soaking in as much as you possibly could, because when I got started, we did have YouTube, and there was a fair amount of stuff online. But now it's unreal how much content is out there, paid, free, whatever it is that you want to do. But I would just spend some time soaking up as much of this information as you possibly could, because like when you get down to it, your skills is what matters. So I would just spend my time learning.
And what career objectives are you currently focusing on?
I think maybe my whole career can be summed up as optimizing for happiness, meaning that it's not necessarily about growing the biggest possible business that you want, but I'm more focused on, am I happy with what I'm doing? And that doesn't mean that like every single day is great. I definitely have really tough days because the kind of stuff that I'm trying to build is hard to make, but is the results that I'm getting from the stuff that I'm building, is that making me happy? Do I have a nice work-life balance? Am I able to spend the time that I want with my kids? Can I take off as much holidays as I could possibly want? Things like that, right? Like being able to run your own show, being able to live where you want. I moved out of the big city to kind of a cool little downtown about an hour outside of the big city. Just being able to like do things like that is one really cool thing about IT, because if you really work at it, you can do it from anywhere, and you can make your own rules.
And what's the number one non-technical skill that has helped you in your career so far?
It's funny. I would say writing, but I'm a terrible writer. I always have spelling and grammar mistakes. But being able to convey what it is that you want, things like succinct emails, being able to talk to someone and being able to get things across really quickly, being able to write good copy for marketing websites, being able to convince people of things. I think like just like being able to like take tone and whatnot and convey that in words, whether it's on a website in copy or whether you're sending an email to someone.
Absolutely. So Wes, can you maybe share a parting piece of career advice with the IT Career Energizer audience?
My biggest piece of advice is to just get out there and start doing it rather than sitting around and pontificating about it. I say this as someone who has a podcast and who writes blog posts and who tweets a lot. And it's easy to just like sit around all day and listen to the stuff or read Quora answers or whatnot. But like I said before, at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. You're not going to get very far just sitting around listening to other people talk about it. You're going to get where you want to be by actually putting in the time and building that skill, whatever it is that you want.
And finally, what's the best way we can find out more about you and connect with you?
I'm Wes Bos everywhere. I spend most of my time on either Twitter at Wes Bos. I'm on Instagram at Wes Bos. And then there's a list of all of my courses at wesbos.com. Those are kind of the three biggest ones. I don't spend any time on LinkedIn. I have 800 invitations right now. So you can add me, but I have to write a script to accept them every couple of months.
Wes, thank you so much for joining me on the IT Career Energizer podcast today. It's been great chatting with you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening in to today's episode and to my guest's career tips, advice, and experiences. You'll find a show notes page for today's episode on the IT Career Energizer website, which will be itcareerenergizer.com/e and then the number of today's episode. And a quick reminder that the show has now 3 episodes every week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So make sure that you are subscribed to the show to get new episodes automatically downloaded. Also, don't forget to join the IT Career Energizer Community Facebook group. You'll get to engage with other like-minded people, get to find out more about upcoming guests and other episodes, and can get involved in the future direction of the podcast. It really is a great pleasure to be able to talk to so many inspirational people from across the industry and to be able to share their stories and advice with you. Thanks for listening, and remember, if you're not growing your career, you're slowing your career.
Thanks for listening to the IT Career Energizer podcast. To find out more about building a successful career in IT, visit itcareerenergizer.com.